This is a basket trial, and it's targeting a biomarker called HER2 amplification. And this is identified through next generation sequencing, so through genetic analysis. The structure of this the trial is that the patients identified through NGS, and then they are then treated with the same drug, irrespective of where the tumor comes from. We are specifically studying cancers other than breast and gastric, for which there are approved HER2 targeted agents. So this includes lung cancers, endometrial cancers, bladder cancers, salivary cancers, colorectal cancers, and other tumors. Patients are then treated with the same medicine, that's ado-trastuzumab emtansine, or TDM1, that's FDA approved in breast cancer, HER2 positive breast cancer. And they're giving the same dose, 3.6 milligram per kilogram, every 3 weeks intravenously until progression of disease. For each cohort, we would accrue 7 patients, and if there's no response of the first seven, we would then close that cohort. But if there's one or more response, we would then expand that cohort to at least 18 patients in total, and we would have to see 5 responses in 18 to reject the null hypothesis. So that's the study design.
And how are the results coming along?
So the early results that was just presented at this meeting is very promising. It showed clinical efficacy across a variety of solid tumors. The overall response rate was 28% in 57 evaluable patients. We recruited 62 patients altogether across a variety of solid tumors other than breast and gastric. And those patients were mostly heavily pretreated with multiple lines of chemotherapy, up to 7 prior lines of chemotherapy. And we saw good efficacy, especially in lung cancer, with 3 out of 7 patients had a confirmed partial response and durable responses. We saw a 25% response rate in heavily pretreated HER2 amplified endometrial cancers. Those patients really don't have an approved targeted therapy, so really a patient population of unmet need. And we saw 5 out of 20 patients with confirmed both partial responses and also complete responses that lasted 2 or more years. We also saw 100% response in the 6 patients with HER2 amplified salivary gland cancers. All of them responded, and many of them still going, approaching 1 year and beyond. We also looked at other diseases that didn't respond. So colorectal cancers, we treated 7 patients, no response. Bladder cancers, we treated 3 patients, no response. This may be due to genetic heterogeneity with concurrent genetic alterations like KRAS and NRAS. Also, this could be differences in chemosensitivity of different tumor types, because TDM1 or ado-trastuzumab emtansine is really a molecule that's a targeted molecule, but that has a chemotherapy that's linked to it. So that could play a role, but also could be just small sample size in that particular subset of disease. But overall, the early results are very promising, showing clinical efficacy across many other disease types if they have HER2 amplification.
And what does the timeline look like for any final results, any milestones we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, so because this promising early data that just got presented, we are expanding the trial to get more patients. This includes HER2 amplified lung cancers. We'd like to accrue at least 20 patients, and also HER2 amplified salivary gland cancers, the one that had a 100% response rate so far. We'd like to accrue more than 20 patients to get a more mature data. And this could be really a breakthrough in cancer therapy for these patients in need.